You don't love him. You're addicted to him. You're addicted to the possibility, addicted to the tiny breadcrumbs of his attention, the hit of dopamine when he finally texts you, and the crash when he stops texting you, when he disappears. And that addiction keeps you loyal and interested and focused on a man who has no intention of choosing you. Masculine men do not do this. They do not act this way. Only boys do this. Emasculated boys. Boys who are going to drain your energy and waste your time. And what we're going to be talking about today is why these men or this man is coming into your life and what you need to do about it. What you really need to start doing to shift the way that you are showing up and tolerating things that you should not be tolerating. Before we get into it, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Zach Rohde. I am here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you've not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a really good one for you today. So, before we talk about this type of man, and this type of behavior from men and why you are tolerating it, I'm going to talk briefly about what I want for you. I don't want you to be tolerating this kind of behavior from a man. I don't want you to put up with it. I don't want you to waste your time, have your life force and your self-worth be drained by this kind of behavior. I want you to be able to have a healthy masculine man who wants to provide for you, who wants to protect you, who is devoted to you, who is cherishing you, who is treating you as the special, amazing woman that you really are. And to be able to have that kind of man and have that kind of devotion in your life, you need to stop tolerating less than that. And what I have seen, all right, in my life and in my coaching program is so many women are tolerating so much less than they need and deserve. I come from a pickup artist background. I have a lot of experience with women. I have wasted a lot of women's time. I have hurt a lot of women in my past, and that's all on me. First of all, it's 100% on me, and I take full responsibility from that. And at the same time, I see women, I've experienced women who tolerated that behavior from me when they shouldn't have. They should have just left because I wasn't treating them properly. I was nice and fun and everything when I was with them, and I was not clearly leading towards commitment in any kind of way. I wasn't showing them that they were as special as they are. And then in my coaching program, my academy program for women, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of women, and I've done over 1,000 enrollment calls with women. And I would say the biggest pattern I see, there's a lot of patterns that I see, but the biggest one that does come up over and over again is women tolerating stuff from men that are just being crappy in various ways, right? We're going to talk about one major way today in this video, but women will tolerate way more than they should. And I'm going to do a kind of a funny aside in regards to this, and then we're going to talk more about like the deeper reasons this is happening. One of the reasons, and I don't know if anyone talks about this, but like I kind of just realized it one day. One of the reasons that I believe women will tolerate so much, the feminine will tolerate so much more from men than they should, and this isn't even about wounding, is because though a woman, you think about child rearing, right? Like a woman has to put up with so much crap from a child. We got a 3-year-old daughter who definitely gives us a lot of crap. She's adorable. I love her to death. But we have to put up with a lot, right? As any parent does. And I believe that women are wired in that kind of way to be able to tolerate so much. Otherwise, they would go crazy. And I would say, like, I'm a very good father, relatively speaking. But even still, and especially with young children, and especially with our daughter, my wife is able to tolerate a lot more than I can for much longer periods of time, mainly because she is a woman, because women are wired that way, because they're wired to be the nurturers and to be able to put up with so much demands, so much so much bad behavior. And of course we're leading her, and like any child should be led into healthier behaviors, but that takes time, especially if you're not repressing those behaviors through something like spanking and all of that, which we definitely don't do. So I believe that women are naturally wired to tolerate more bad behavior than men in general. Now, of course, men today will tolerate a lot of bad behaviors because they're just so deeply emasculated. Like, a lot of them just don't have strong boundaries, all that kind of stuff. But I'm just talking about at our core essence of the masculine and the feminine. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. I just thought it was a funny kind of thing that women tolerate so much bad behavior from men because they're acting like children, because they are wired to take care of children and be the one that's spending most of the time with early children. Because the man is wired to go hunt and to go defend and to go grow food and to go out and do the stuff and bring back and provide for the woman. So the other big reason, and this is the bigger one, why are you tolerating this stuff? You're tolerating this primarily because of childhood. You're tolerating it because you did not have the perfect childhood that you really needed, the perfect imprinting from your parents that you needed. What is the perfect childhood? I'm just going to kind of share it in a nutshell. So it's where you got two parents, it's a man and a woman, a father and a mother, who love each other, who demonstrate that they love each other, who demonstrate that they love you fully, who are giving you the space to make mistakes, to share your feelings, to share your needs. They're demonstrating clearly how much your needs matter to them, how much your feelings matter to them. They're guiding you into healthy, proper behavior with love, right? With guidance, right? Like when my daughter, for example, when she makes mistakes or she does something that she totally shouldn't, I'm going to be very firm with her, but very, very loving, right? Like I'll get down beside her, be like, hey, sweetheart, you can't do stuff like this. Here's why you can't do this. You might get hurt or blah, blah, blah. Tell me, do you understand this? Yeah, okay, do. Or if her feelings are hurt, it's like, okay, tell me what's wrong, sweetie. I'll pick her up. You sad right now? You're sad? Okay, cool. I'm here for you. And I'll just comfort her and help her emotionally regulate until she feels better again, and then she's happy, and then that's it. Right? So it's parents that can also emotionally regulate themselves so they're not getting upset at their child and putting that upset onto them in some kind of way. They're not putting their wounds onto their children. I mean, every parent will do that to an extent, as will I. Of course, I don't want to. But the perfect childhood would be where you're not putting the parents aren't putting any of their wounds onto their children. They're just giving them that amazing safety. So much about a good childhood is about safety. And I don't mean becoming a helicopter parent. I mean about being emotionally regulated and providing the space for the children to feel and to experiment and to make mistakes and to always know that the parents are there and they're not going to physically abandon them or emotionally abandon them. Right? Most children don't get physically abandoned by their parents. Well, that's not actually quite true. Even things like sending a child to daycare, especially at the early ages that we do, it is a form of abandonment, and the child's not going to know. They don't have the reasoning skills, the understanding. So there is going to be a form of physical abandonment, but especially emotional abandonment, where every time a parent closes their heart to their child, there is that disconnection of love. And the child is going to feel that. Just like when a man closes his heart to you because he's hurt or because he's punishing you or he's resentful or whatever, you feel that as a woman, of course. And especially if you got a lot of anxiety, anxious attachment, whatever else, you're really going to feel that in an even stronger way. So you didn't get that in childhood, probably. It is possible to have pretty much the perfect childhood and still get screwed up if your father didn't really guide you as far as how to show up with men, how to communicate with men, how to be with men in a feminine way. But I'm just going to assume for this video, if you're watching this, that you didn't get anywhere close to the perfect childhood. Your needs, your parents demonstrated that your needs didn't matter, at least not fully. That they demonstrated that your feelings are not fully safe. Either you're not safe to feel your feelings, which is the worst thing, or at least to express your feelings. And shut you down, shame you, judge you, be angry at you, leak their irritation onto you, all of that kind of stuff. They may have been distracted, really busy, neglectful, maybe even physically abusive, spanked you, hit you, didn't cherish you, ultimately. Okay, didn't cherish you. And the worse your childhood was, because it's going to be on a spectrum, right? It's like there's the perfect childhood, the theoretical one that nobody actually had, and then there's the absolute train wreck childhood, and then there's everything in between, which is going to be where most people, most little girls grew up in. And so you didn't get that amazing imprinting. And so you became wounded. You became wounded to protect. You became wounded because you weren't able to properly deal with those feelings in the moment at that time. You didn't have the ability to regulate, to understand, to process. Your parents hadn't taught you that. You're too young for that. And so this trauma stays in your body, stays in your system, your energy body. And you end up developing control patterns to stay safe. So that can be learning to avoid sharing your feelings. That's a very common one. Learning to be really guarded and shut down your heart. Learning to play it cool and just appear more stoic. Learning to judge instead of be vulnerable. Learning to lead and to assert yourself to get your needs met, because if you're just open and waiting, your parents didn't fully meet them that way. All kinds of different possibilities. And when you grow up, even though you can watch this video and you might have known what I'm saying, a lot of what I'm saying about a healthy relationship, and I say in all of these videos, you already know to some extent, because I'm speaking to your feminine instinct. And if you're this far into this video, your feminine instinct is at least somewhat online, because you're going to be resonating with what I'm saying. Even if for some of you it might be triggering, you might be very triggered. That happens as well. It's just wounding on top of that feminine instinct, but you know that there's the deeper truth. And on that note, make sure that if you are this far in this video, like this video, give it a like. It helps my algorithm, helps me find other women who need this work. And then also be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed, so that you can keep watching more of these videos, so you can find me more easily, so you don't lose me. And I have hundreds of these videos that are really going to help you in various ways with whatever your patterns and issues are. So you're going to learn that it's not safe to fully be you. You develop these control patterns, and you end up attracting a man or men who end up recreating your childhood in some kind of way, typically. There's a few different possibilities, but there's going to typically be a lot of that. So what that means is, so just as an example, if you had a lack of safety in your childhood, lack of emotional safety, if you were feeling a lot of the time on edge, walking on eggshells, like you're going to be abandoned in some kind of way, typically you're going to attract a man and attract behavior from that man that is going to recreate that in some way, even though you don't want that. It's like, you can hear this from me and be like, yeah, that's terrible. I definitely don't want that. But why do I keep finding that? Why do I keep attracting that? Well, because part of you unconsciously does want that. And there's many reasons for that. And for you to heal the trauma that you've experienced in childhood, you actually do need to have those experiences so that you can choose different as an adult now. And unfortunately, what many women do, at least for many periods of time, is they end up tolerating what they shouldn't tolerate. The number of women that I know who waste not just like days or weeks with these kind of men, but months or years. And I'm going to pose the question to you, and you tell me below, why would you ever tolerate a man who is not truly cherishing you, who is not truly creating the safety for you that you need, who's not giving you frequent communication to let you know that everything's okay, to let you know what the plans are, to let you know that he's not going anywhere, to let you know that he's choosing you and that everything's all right? Why are you tolerating anything less than that? This is a really important question to reflect on. Why would you tolerate anything less than that? The only reason you would tolerate anything less than that, a few pieces to this, it ultimately comes down to your self-worth. If you don't believe, and I'm not talking about consciously, but more unconsciously, if you don't believe that you are worthy of more, then you are going to tolerate less. And it's really as simple as that. I can tell you this right now, and you can be like, damn, this guy is right on the money. And yet you're probably going to go right back into that pattern again, or right back to that guy. Because even though you logically understand it and you resonate with it, there's a deeper part of you that is addicted to that drama, that feeds off that drama. And even as weird as it might sound, who recognizes that drama, that form of relating as safety, because that's all you've really ever known. And so if you want to shift this, you need to first understand what is possible for you, what a healthy man is supposed to be doing, how he's showing up for you differently. And by the way, this video is part of a series, so if you're interested in watching other parts of this, be sure to open up the description below and watch the playlist where there's other videos that you can watch that are going to help bring other parts of the pieces to this puzzle. The puzzle where a man is not showing up for you and he's not giving you the clarity and the leadership that you need. So you don't have the self-worth, you need a man. You need to know what a healthy man looks like, number one. And then you need to know, number two, why you are tolerating less than what you need. All right, so this goes all into the childhood stuff. It's like you weren't loved unconditionally and you didn't get that unconditional safety. So you've got this unhealthy imprinting, and that's not your fault. None of that is your fault. That was just what you were born into and what you had to tolerate. And from we have a range of clients, we've seen pretty much everything, but at the far end of just horrible, there's a few students that we have that had the most nightmare possible childhoods. Most people can't even really imagine, as far as the level of abuse and neglect, and can't even say it on YouTube, but being essayed by a family member or by somebody many times. And that's going to really screw you up. That's going to screw up women much more than normal. But even if you haven't had any of that, you're still going to get screwed up to a certain degree. Your self-worth is going to be greatly impacted. Your imprinting is going to be greatly impacted. And you're not going to know on a deep level that you deserve so much better than this. Once you realize what is possible for you, what is possible, what you need, what kind of man you need, the other thing that needs to shift is you need to actually believe that you can have that kind of man. Because a lot of women, it's even if you know, I need this from a man. Of course, all the things that you're saying, Zach, they totally make sense. But those men aren't out there. I've never found that kind of man. No. They are out there. Are they a minority? Men who really have their stuff together and really, but are like really fully capable of cherishing a woman and leading a woman, taking care of her, protecting her, all that stuff. Yeah, it's a minority. And as a woman gets older, that pool of men is going to tend to be smaller, because guess what? Those healthy men are in committed relationships, marriages, but they still exist regardless. Even if you're a single woman right now, they exist. And we've helped in our academy, we've helped many single women, many who've been like single their whole lives or decades, or like never had a really healthy relationship before, never actually felt what being cherished, devoted to, at least not long term, they never experienced that, and we've helped them create that. So you may have a limiting belief, you almost definitely do have a limiting belief about what is really possible for you. Because if you knew that, if you were 100% sure that of course those men are out there and those men would want you, so it's two parts to that belief. They're out there and they want you. If you knew that, it would be much easier to let go of the man who is wasting your time. It'd still be difficult, because you still might be addicted to him. You still might be addicted to the drama. You still might be addicted to the anxiety and emotions and the highs and the lows that it brings up. Just like drugs, right? Like that is a form of addiction that you need to recognize. And just like drugs, you need to be strong enough to choose better for yourself. You need to know that there is something better out there for you. You need to know, and if you don't know it, like I'm telling you it, I have total conviction in what's possible for you because I've seen it for so many different women. You need to, in the absence of that conviction, you can borrow my conviction and you can choose faith. Faith means in the absence of that belief, of the evidence, you don't have that evidence, you're just choosing to believe. And choosing to believe, it's not just like in your head where it's just like, oh, okay, I believe now. No, you gotta walk the talk, or you gotta walk the belief, which means you've got to actually act as if you believe it. So an act of faith, right? You're not just believing, you're not just having faith, you're acting on faith. So what does that mean? Well, that means if you're with one of these time wasters, if you're stuck in this addiction cycle, if you're experiencing these highs and lows of a man that gives you attention and then he withdraws it or he goes away, you're only seeing him once a week or once every 2 weeks. Okay, you see a man once a week, that's not a relationship. In all 98% of cases, there's exceptions, but in most cases, that's not a man who's truly devoted to you. If a man was truly devoted to you, he was going to move mountains to see you, to be with you as much as he can. Now, of course, he's going to have work, and some of them might have children and other stuff, like single dads, but he's going to do everything that he possibly can. Can you feel that? If you're seeing a man or a past man that you've been with, can you feel in your body that he is doing everything he reasonably can to see you because he cares about you that much? He wants to spend that much time with you? If you don't feel that, then why are you with him? The only reason you would be because you lack self-worth, you don't realize how amazing you are, and you don't realize on the deepest level that of course you can do better. That's the only reason. To shift your self-worth, you need to take many acts of faith. And this is basically, understand what I'm talking about now, this is a process. What I have developed in my academy program for women is a process. It is a process of healing, shifting your self-worth, and learning how to communicate in a way that naturally inspires a man to want to take care of you, to want to cherish you. It's a process of learning how to let go of all the control patterns that you learned to stay safe, to try to get your needs met in childhood, and just be. Because as long as you're holding on to those control patterns, you're in masculine energy. When you let go of those control patterns, guess what? You're in feminine energy. You're open, you're flowing, you're receiving, you're being. You're not penetrating, you're opening, you're being vulnerable. So this process goes like this. Woman, and understand, I'm going to talk about the academy and our process, but also understand this is something you can do even if you never get our support. Now, if you get our support, you're going to make these shifts like way faster, like 10 times faster, I don't know, 50 times faster, who knows? Really depends on the woman, but a lot faster and a lot easier and a lot less grief and heartbreak and anxiety. It's just going to be easier because you're going to have your hand held the whole time by the coaches, showing you what to do, how to make these shifts, giving you reassurance, teaching you exactly what to do and what to say to connect with yourself and to connect with the man. But you can do this even if you're like, nah, I can't afford coaching, or it's just not worth it to me, or I just want to do it the longer, harder way. Okay, well, you keep watching my YouTube videos and start putting the pieces together. And I provide you a lot of pieces. And you can do the same process. It's just going to be longer and it's just going to be harder. So the process is, you have a limiting belief about how amazing you are and what you can actually attract and what you can inspire. You don't realize that devoted man who is just cherishing you endlessly, right? It's like a never-ending honeymoon period. It's like, that's not possible for me. And so because of that, you settle for less, you settle for losers, you settle for guys that aren't truly devoted to you, who aren't actually putting in the energy and the effort to take care of you. 50-50 guys who aren't giving you clarity about stuff, who aren't truly choosing you, all kinds of different guys, right? There's many different facets of emasculation, but all of these men are emasculated in some kind of way. They're not the healthy masculine man that you need. So you don't have that belief that you can have that healthy masculine man. And so you go into all of these different control patterns. And you're acting basically from fear, and you're acting from that limiting belief, and just recreating the same crap over and over again. It's just a cycle. It's like, why does this keep happening? Well, it keeps happening because you keep doing very similar things. You keep doing things that are not working. And any kind of control pattern is not going to work. And unfortunately, for women, especially who are really interested in learning and self-developing, they learn mostly from other women, other control patterns to stay safe, right? I'll just give you a classic one. There's so many to talk about, but one really obvious one is the book, The Rules. Because those are really obvious, overt control patterns. So it's like you have all these rules about how to engage with a man. You're going to end up masculinizing yourself further, becoming more like a man because you don't know how to operate as a woman who's in her self-worth. I don't teach you how to act more like a man for you to stay safe, because that's the trajectory of so many women. I teach you how to be a woman and stay safe and be inspiring with your femininity and with your self-worth. It's your self-worth that is going to keep you safe. So anyway, you're going to learn, you're going to act on faith. So what we teach you in the academy, and what I teach to a lesser extent on these videos, is here's feminine communication. Here's how you can be communicating in a feminine way that's going to, it's not going to inspire every single man. That's not what it's about. It's about inspiring the kind of men that are right for you, and then exposing the men who are not right for you. The ones who want to stay a Peter Pan, the ones who want to stay wasting your time, the ones who want to keep you addicted to them instead of wanting you to be cherished by them. They're going to be exposed because they're not going to respond well to the feminine communication. They're not going to shift their behaviors. And now they're exposed as the losers that they are. The emasculated men, right? Like, I expect most men to be emasculated today, okay? Because they have not been, just like you, they were in unhealthy families and all this kind of stuff. And I have compassion for that too. And any man who steps up when a woman uses feminine communication, that's amazing to me. They got my respect. Any man, when a woman is truly vulnerable with him, uses feminine communication, is fully respectful, and he doesn't step up, that's a loser. Like, that's going to be my judgment. Don't you judge that man, because that's going to be putting you in a masculine energy of judgment. You feel your feelings. You feel the sadness that comes up when you're on the receiving end of that kind of man. Your anxiety that comes up, your anger that comes up, your shame that comes up. I'm going to judge him though. So you're going to act on faith and start applying feminine communication. So, for example, like one of the most common things that we teach in the academy at the most basic level, you're asking for help with something. May I have help with my feelings? May I, or like, may I have some clarity about something? Or may I have some time with you? And it's a very vulnerable act. You're asking for a need or a desire to be met. You're opening yourself up. You're not leading by doing that. And you see how a man responds. Your natural programming, because of childhood and because of bad experiences with men, is, oh no, like, it's not going to work. I shouldn't do it. I should stay closed. I should stay protective. I should lead in some kind of way. I should manipulate in some kind of way. But you're acting on faith by doing this. The act of faith is to do the thing that's scary, that you know in your heart is right. You know that you want to be vulnerable. You want to be open. You know that this is the woman you want to be, and you're so terrified of being her. And you choose to do that over and over and over and over again. And as you do that, sometimes you'll get, it depends on the man, sometimes you'll get good responses, sometimes you get bad, sometimes you get a mix from men, sometimes it'll be mainly good, sometimes it'll be mainly bad. But regardless, when you do that, you do it for the right reasons, not for the outcome, but just because you know that this is how you need to be honoring your heart, you start shifting more into your self-worth. And you're feeling all your feelings that come up as you do that. You start to love yourself more and more over time. Your self-worth comes online more and more because you're giving yourself the love that your parents should have fully given you, and that the man that you're with, or the man that you're going to be with, should be giving you. But he isn't. Your self-worth starts to come more online, and eventually, depending on how the man is showing up, if your self-worth kind of goes up here and he's still treating you way down here, you're going to be like, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't stay in this. The problem is that even if you really like yourself and you believe on a conscious level that you deserve better, if your self-worth is really low, it's like it's down here and the man is treating you down here, you're tolerating it. You're not shifting out of your control patterns. He's just reflecting your self-worth. That's all he's doing. He's giving you an invitation, actually, for you to shift your self-worth. When your self-worth starts to go up here, guess what happens? You start to realize more and more on a deeper level, I can't put up with this anymore. This is yucky. This is horrible. This is not tolerable. I'm not going to do it. And it's bad enough when you're in your control patterns and a man is doing all this, up and down and pulling on your heartstrings and creating all this anxiety in you. That's bad enough. But when you start to be really, truly vulnerable and respectful to him, and he continues to do it, it's now so much worse. And it's going to get so much more intolerable. And you get to the point where you realize, I've done all I can do here. I've tried to be vulnerable. I've tried to be feminine. I've tried to be respectful. I've really given it a good shot, and I've done it for myself. And the man isn't shifting. This boy isn't shifting. I need to flow away from this dynamic because I know deep down that I deserve better. And that is a scary thing to do. It can be a terrifying thing to do. It can be a very depressing thing to do. You might have to grieve for a while depending on the specific dynamic or relationship. But ultimately, by doing that, you are telling yourself that you are worthy of more. And you are acting on faith, even though deep down you might believe, like, man, I'm never going to find a man better than this, even though he's a loser, even though he's not even taking care of you, even anywhere close to the way that you need. But at the time when you've got all of that attachment to him, the vantage point is different, so it's really hard to let go. But then you do let go, you break up with him, you don't listen to his crap after you do, where he might try to suck you back in, and you just fully process and grieve, and then you start attracting other men. And now you've started learning using feminine communication, learning how to honor your heart more, and guess what? You're going to start to attract typically better men. And you might have to attract multiple men. It's not necessarily like you're going to find your dream man right after, but it becomes a journey of attracting men who are better for you, and you're being given, it's being given by the universe, by God, the gifts that you need to heal. Those gifts aren't necessarily going to feel good, but they're the gifts that you need to shift yourself and to heal out of these unhealthy patterns. And isn't that beautiful? Of course it is. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. And even better than the man, getting the man, it's that you're shifting yourself. You're learning to love yourself in a way that you never have possible. And then the man is just going to come into your life to reflect that. And for some of you, you won't actually have to flow away from him, and you'll be able to inspire the man that you have into being a way better man for you. But you need to always be willing to flow away. You need to be willing to detox from your drug addiction that you have with him, or with men in general, right? You might not currently have a man, but you know what I'm talking about because you've experienced something like this. This is the journey into self-worth. This is what you can do by continuing to watch these videos and then being courageous and start applying the things that I am teaching, the principles that I'm teaching.